I've been seeing so many videos popping up lately talking about really rare extinct seeds you can grow in your garden. And I was watching a lot of them and I thought to myself, wonderful, a bunch of seeds I cannot grow, which then led me to actually doing the research to try to look at seeds that I can grow in my cold zone 3 climate. And I found some really interesting, rare, almost extinct seeds that you can get and can grow here in a zone 3 and obviously in, zone 4, 5, 6, usually it'll be safe to do so. And you could probably grow these actually in higher zones as well, a lot of them. But I'm going to make us seem special in these cold climates and say, no, you can't. They're exclusive to just us. And with that being said, if you don't know who I am, hi, hello, my name's Ashley. I have a bachelor's of science in soil science. I like to take said science, apply it to all things plants. And in this case, I raided the DNA seed bank to find the latest and the greatest seeds. Well, not the latest and greatest, the rarest and the most extinct seeds. So the opposite of the latest and the greatest. But let's bring them back. Full disclosure here. I have no way of getting you links to a lot of these seeds. I will try my darndest to find the links to a lot of these seeds. I am about to raid a Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups to find a lot of these seeds. Geek Crew, if you find these seeds, please let me know because I will buy them off of you. And then you'll get my mailing address. And then you could technically hang out with me on a regular basis because then you would know where I live. But that's besides the point. I'm probably not going to be able to find a lot of these for you. So I apologize if I get you excited about stuff that you can then not find. But some of you are going to be able to find this because some of you are really good internet sleuths. So by all means, let people know in the comments down below if you find any. Okay, so number 1 is Hutterite soup beans. So here's the thing. Hutterites are huge here in Saskatchewan. They're huge in Manitoba, and they are pretty big in Alberta as well. They are a Canadian thing. I think the Americans have a lot of Amish, more so than Hutterites. And we also have Mennonites as well, but they're a lot different than Hutterites. Anyways, I digress. I think you do have some Hutterites in the US of A, but not as many as we do here in Saskatchewan. But they have something called Hutterite soup bean. Now, here's the thing. It is passed down through Hutterite communities in the Canadian prairies, but it was never, ever widely commercialized. They are extremely early maturing, and they are specifically designed for a harsh Canadian prairie summer and winter. So that is what makes them so quickly to mature. They do not require any fertilizer, and they are meant for soups. The reason why I know this exists is because Hutterites, I know, because I buy stuff up of Hutterites all the time. Wonderful eggs, wonderful pickled beets, wonderful pickles. They have really good meat. They pickle snap peas, which are really delicious. I get lots of tips and tricks off of them. Rachel actually did the catering for my wedding. Fun fact, Rachel, the cook of the Leask colony here out in Saskatchewan. I digress. Soup beans, Hutterite soup beans, I do have access to those. I kind of feel important when it comes to that, but very rare. And I did not realize they are rare and unique and not commercialized until I was doing research and I found out that these are actually not commercialized at all. And they are solely handed down throughout the colonies themselves. So fun facts, and they are delicious. Next up is the Paris market carrot. So this is an old French carrot that actually fell out of popularity because it's not your classic grocery store carrot look or vibe. So here's where it's a massive benefit to a cool climate gardener is it has what we call a rounded root. Now, this rounded root means that it is much better at performing in cooler, harder soils and therefore has a less likelihood for root deformation. So if you ever end up with carrots that have lots of like little knobs kind of sticking off and some are very phallic in nature. That doesn't happen when you have this sort of rounded knob carrot. That's why natties and stuff tend to do really well in cooler climates as well, is that kind of blunt root that allows it to penetrate the cooler, harder soils without that deformation. Now, this one specifically is good at maturing quickly, less than 60 days, which is very, very fast. And again, it not only performs well in cool soils, but compacted in shallow soils as well. The next one is called black hull barley. So this is actually considered an ancient grain, a truly ancient grain with very little to absolute minimum breeding, selective breeding at all. meaning it is not a hybrid. It's sure as heck not GMO. It is probably even beyond heirloom. It is quite literally its rawest form still. This is hands down probably one of the most frost tolerant crops on planet Earth. Because it's hulless, it's incredibly easy to actually process at home. If you've ever tried to grow wheat at home or oats or anything like that, you need a thresher, you need a hand thresher, you need to make a mechanical thresher. And with a hulless barley, that's not the case. You don't actually need any of that fancy equipment. Now, because they have very minimal work done to them, you can simply broadcast them across the soil surface. You don't have to actually plant them. They do need very minimal fertilizer, if not zero fertilizer at all. And it allows you to produce calories and not just vegetables, which if you've watched my video on why the Strait of Hormuz is going to cause grocery prices to rise, this black heartless barley may be at the top of your choices in regards to filling your tummies here over the next little bit. Next up is called Good King Harry, aka poor man's asparagus. So this was actually a staple in a lot of European cottages for thousands of years, and now it's just kind of been forgotten about. It is perennial, so it comes back every single year. It is incredibly frost tolerant, so it's perfect for a cold climate or a cooler zone. And it produces greens way sooner than any other plant out there. And that is what it's meant for. It's meant to be grown to eat the green. It has a very deep root system, which makes it better at accessing nutrients lower in that soil profile. So fertilizer is next to none. It also makes it great at being able to become resistant to the drought seasons that may appear. And that also makes it incredibly resistant to die-off due to cooler winters. You can start from seeds. You can also start these from division. Now, the thing here is that they won't be able to be harvested from for around 2 to 3 years after you've officially planted them in your garden. You should probably let them sit for a little bit of time. After that, you can harvest it like spinach continually all season long until you get sick of it. Next up is what we call painted mountain corn. So this is a type of corn that was specifically bred for cooler climates. It was not bred for industrial purposes at all. It was very specifically, again, bred for just survivability in extreme cold. So this is one of the fastest maturing corn varieties out there on planet Earth. It is 75 days to maturity, which is enormous when we're talking about corn. Corn is usually closer to 90, if not more. Actually, in a lot of cases. It's completely tolerant to cool nights, which is a major factor in our cold climates. And it does okay in cool along with poor soils for nutrients. Corn notoriously has a very high demand for nutrients. And in the case of this corn, that is not an issue. It also is highly diverse in its genetics, which makes it incredibly resistant to pests, whether those are bugs or disease, which in turn means that little to no chemical input is needed. Now, it's just like any sort of corn. You want to make sure you sow them nice and tight together to allow for that wind pollination to take place. You can also sow them as soon as the ground thaws out. You can toss them outdoors because they do okay in a cooler soil temp. Next up is walking onions. So these are not commercially known or purchased or available at a grocery store. And that's because they're weird. They're top set onions is what we like to call them. They survive very brutal winters just fine. And they propagate themselves by quite literally walking across the Earth's surface. So it's kind of neat. They require zero replanting. They literally just replant themselves by walking across the surface of the soil. It's interesting because most modern plants are being bred for kind of 3 specific reasons: transport, shelf life, and then uniformity or prettiness, if you will. Whereas these seeds are different. They are bred for short seasons, cold tolerance, soil resistance, that sort of thing, but they still have the same flavor, the same colors. They just maybe aren't as pretty looking or as commercially available as others. So with that being said, if you want to learn what you need to start in April, you want to check out this video right here. And that video is actually what Google says you should watch next because they're watching you. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.